Welcome back to Wikilert.
The room feels different before it begins. The low murmur of voices, the shuffle of chairs, the soft click of cameras adjusting their lenses, it's all part of the ritual. An NRL press conference can be routine, expected, just another tick on the long list of post-game obligations. But not tonight. Tonight, it carries a heavier weight. Everyone in the room senses it, that invisible tension, that electricity that lingers after a season-defining moment. Some fans watching at home might expect nothing more than a polite set of answers to recycled questions, but those who followed the game long enough know better. Because in these 15 or so minutes, hidden between the pauses and the carefully chosen words, there's real truth to be found. When the coach finally steps out, the silence sharpens. He walks to the podium slowly, fatigue clinging to him like a heavy coat. For weeks, maybe even months, his every move has been dissected, every decision questioned. He sits, leans into the microphone, and gives that quiet nod signaling he's ready. The first questions are safe, routine thoughts on performance, execution, where it all slipped away. He answers with composure, but the weight of disappointment seeps into his voice. You can hear the faintest crack when he speaks about preparation, about the hunger in the locker room that didn't quite translate on the field. It isn't anger. It isn't excuses. It's something more vulnerable than that, the sound of a man carrying not just his own load, but the weight of every player who went into battle under his guidance. A few minutes in, the focus shifts to strategy, to critical moments that decided the game. He rewinds them in his head as he speaks, each replay etched into his memory. He explains what was planned and where it fell short. But then comes the inevitable. The question's not just about tactics, but about his players, about their morale, about whether confidence has been shaken. His eyes look down, just briefly, before he lifts them again to answer. He won't throw anyone under the bus. That's not who he is. He defends them, shields them. He talks about belief, about resilience, about how setbacks aren't the end. There's pride there, buried beneath the pain, and it speaks louder than any headline that reporters might write after this ends. And then, the players themselves step up. The first one chosen to sit beside his coach looks battle-worn, his gaze heavy with regret. He fidgets with his hands on the table as the questions begin. You can almost hear the hesitancy in his voice, as though each word he offers is another reminder of what could have been. He admits the group fell short, admits personal accountability too. But he doesn't stop there. He talks about the journey, about the grind of the season, the small sacrifices fans seldom see, the endless training sessions in the heat, the bruises that never quite heal, the sacrifices made away from family. When he speaks, you begin to remember that the NRL is far more than just games played each weekend. It's a way of life with costs so high that only those on the inside truly understand them. A second player takes the microphone, this one younger, his energy different but no less heartfelt. He speaks with fire in his voice, insisting that one result doesn't define them. There's an edge of defiance, refusal to let the story end here. Every sentence sounds less like a response to a journalist and more like a promise made to fans, to teammates, maybe even to himself. You can feel the determination threading through his words, the certainty that redemption isn't a question of if, but simply a matter of when. It's this clash inside the press room between disappointment and determination, vulnerability and resilience, that makes it feel less like a formal interview and more like a mirror, reflecting the very soul of rugby league. But perhaps the most powerful moments don't come from the words themselves. They come in the silences between them. The pause when a reporter asks about the future of the season, and suddenly the careful mask of composure cracks, just for a second. The press room catches its breath, unsure if the answer will come. And then it does, shaky, but steady, carrying the unmistakable weight of raw honesty. These are the moments that remind us the game isn't played by invincible machines, but by men who feel the Same doubts, the same heartbreak, and the same drive to recover as anyone watching. In the crowd. As the conference progresses, you realize that it's not just about explaining the past. 90 minutes of action, or about dissecting strategy. It's about connection. The questions might be blunt, sometimes even harsh, but in responding to them, the players and coaches give fans a bridge into their reality. They reveal the emotional scars as well, as the fire's still burning inside. And in doing so, they turn ordinary press conferences into something sacred, a space where sport becomes human in all its messy, fragile beauty. By the time the final question is asked, nearly 15 minutes have passed. The room exhales as the coach stands again, gathers his notes, and walks away with his team. The cameras click off, the chairs scrape back, the journalists disperse. On the surface, it's over. But for fans watching the live stream at home, or those who will catch the replay later, it lingers. It sits heavy in their hearts, the sadness of what has slipped away, mingled with the hope of what might still come. Because NRL press conferences aren't just about the present, they carry within them the seeds of tomorrow's story. And as we close, I want to thank you for spending this time with me, reliving the emotions, the honesty, and the humanity that make these moments unforgettable. If you felt that same pull of connection, that same reminder of why we love this sport so deeply, then I hope you'll subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video. There are many more stories still to be told, and your support ensures we can keep sharing them. Until next time, take care and keep believing in the game we all cherish. Would you like me to expand this even further to resemble a full-length 15-minute narration script with pace sections written to allow pauses and recount specific story-like flashpoints from NRL history so that it feels more padded in delivery?